So I'm just going to go over some of the basic search stuff. You'll notice over here on the left, there's all these different blue links that you can go through, and we'll go through a few of these. The first one I want to show you is the advanced search, and this one we're not actually going to go through it. There you can see, I'm just going to scroll down. You can see how many different things you can search by. You can filter and do all kinds of stuff. So you can see it's just a lot of information. So we're not going to go into that in this particular class. So now we're going to go back to the basic search. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to see all these different primary property address, owner, parcel. And what you're going to do is the more information you put in there, the less likely you're going to get a result. Just because if you put the address and don't type the owner name right, or don't type the parcel name right, it's not going to find it. So actually, it's a little counterintuitive. The less information you put in, sometimes the better. So like if you know the person's address, we can go put that in. And once you start typing, you can see down here for the primary property address. It's a scroll bar, and you can certainly scroll that way. If you start typing in, it will, and I'll talk about this in 1 second. If you start typing in, it will, oh, don't do that. It'll get you to like the B's or the C's or wherever you're going. If you type slow like I did, it will jump to whatever letter you are, the next letter you're typing in. So you want to type in really fast, and or type in the first letter and then scroll. So you can follow my example if you want to follow it. I'm going to do 2015 Bond Street. Yeah, you can certainly, and this is one of the things, actually, were we going to bring this up later, Derek?
You're going to bring it up
I
right
will
now.
bring it up now.
I have it now.
You have it now, and here it is. Yeah, certainly feel free to look up other places. You'll notice when I typed in 2015 Bond Street, it says 2025 Bond Street is the primary address. Use that for the search. So what happens is the way the web works is we can only have, if there's more than one addressable structure on that parcel, like say 2 or 3 houses, we can only show one address as like the main address. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the main house or the main anything. It just means that we can show one at a time. So if, you'll see if we go in here and do 2025 Bond Street and not do that, then it will show up. And for those of you that aren't familiar, this is Stonefield. So like if you're searching for your own house or something and you have 2 houses with 2 addresses, and just because it doesn't show up doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means it's not that main thing. And let's see.
If you put property info on that one, just for real quick, we'll be getting back to some of this,
Yeah.
but you'll see how it has the other addresses all listed
So
there.
all of these.
So if we had searched on one of those other ones, it's just there's a primary property address, and that's how it's linked in the among all our assessment data and all that. And it's just we're really just bringing together a lot of systems that are out there and putting it into a convenient storefront for citizens or for employees to look at.
Yeah, and so just kind of keep that in mind, that there can be more than one address. And this clear, go ahead.
Good.
I was gonna say clear all will get you if you're like, okay, I want to start again. You can just hit clear all, and no matter what you have in there, it'll wipe it all out. And we're gonna go over some of these other areas in a second, but just to kind of show you some more of the links on the left. Before we get too far into that, to show you the different ways you can search if this main one isn't working. So the location search would also be a different way that you can see. You can do street or intersection if you want to say, I'm at intersection, 29 and Plank Road, and it'll go put a point in there. So you can do points of interest. You can say airport, and then whatever you pick, it's gonna give you drop downs. You can do coordinates. Let's see, I'll show you the intersection thing real quick. Let's see. And this is going to be the same thing. It's only going to list roads that intersect. So it's not like you necessarily have to know what roads intersect 29. And when you hit search, if you have Chrome, this might open up in the same, it'll open up a new tab. In IE, it'll open up a whole new window. It might just, things work a little bit differently depending on your browser. I don't know if you can see it in here. Right in here, it put a little point that says 250-29 bypass at Barracks Road. So you can also search that way. But you'll notice this building address. So this is a way you can search for a secondary address. So if I type 2015 Bond Street in here and search for it, it's going to come up, because this is searching that list that Derek showed you or mentioned, that whole big long list. That will find all of them, and you'll see it puts the little point right here. So the location search is another way. If you're not quite getting the results you want, or you want something a little bit different, that's another way you can do that. Let's see. If you do the go to mapping, that's going to bring up your mapping window. We're going to go over this a little bit later about what all these are. If you are very familiar with the county and you don't want to search, you just want to zoom to a certain area, you can just go straight to the left hand and click go to mapping and zoom to the area you're interested in. Let's see. And let's see, some of the FAQ stuff. So there's a couple different places that there's FAQs that are going to be very helpful. Over here on the left, and the rest of these links, the go to mapping, this is just, you know, our disclaimer, help and FAQ. So if you have a generic question, it might be, but you don't know where to start, this might be a good place. How do I do an advanced search? Map labels, what do they, what do they mean? You know, you can go and click in here, and it'll give you a little blurb of information that'll hopefully help you out. And there's also, while you're on other pages, there's various ones. This can't find a street name. So this is going to take you to the same FAQ area and give you more information.
Yeah, it targets directly to where that question is in the thing, and that addresses exactly what that situation we were talking about. It explains in there what the primary property address is, why there's a difference, and where it goes. It has some extra links in there if you want more information about the whys of, and maybe this one happens to mention the road name index as a way to, looking at validating if it's a real road and everything.
And just a similar context, I mean, you'll see there's an FAQ up here as well. This one is probably going to be one of the more helpful ones.
Look at
Pin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be talking about that.
Oh yeah, we're going to cover that in a minute. But, so that'll also be a very helpful one, and I think that's my spiel.
That's it for the FAQs. Yeah, I'll just, Elise kind of touched on it before, that each one of these fields is taken, they're taken together, so the more information you put in. So if I knew that I was looking for that other address that we were looking at before, 2015 Bond Street, and we said we knew that resulted in something. Actually, it was 2025 that we did that resulted in something. We know that that's going to create a result, but then I put over here Smith, because I think that Smith owns that. It's going to tell me there's nothing that matches that, because Smith doesn't own that. if Smith did own that, it would return that. This is where too much information returns no results. So putting in more things thinking that it's going to narrow your results, it could narrow it down to 0. So you want to make sure that instead of doing both of those, unless you have confidence, or let's say it is Smith is the owner and you have an address, or some other piece of information, but there are multiple reasons, multiple results for that, you might want to narrow it by saying Smith, comma, A or something like that, if you know more information about that name. So in this case, it returns no results, but then if I go up here and do a Smith, I get way too many results. Again, I need to narrow it somewhat. So in this case, I would probably know more information about this. I would know that I need Smith, the name Smith and the first name too. But these are all just ways that you're going to try to narrow your search. So now we're down to 13 results with a Smith and an A for their first name. And this is manageable, and you can see all of that. So that's another way to search by using owner, and then by combining them to narrow down those choices. Any questions about what we've gone over so far? Okay.
Back up?
Yeah, because we were going to talk about the other one there.
Yeah.
Oh, and then so that's where clear all is also an important one. If you start putting too much information in there, it's just sometimes easier to start over again, clear everything away, and start building it back up with the information you have confidence in for searching.
Yeah. Now we'll get to the parcel one that I was jumping ahead to. So a lot of us are going to search by parcels. Well, maybe not a lot of us. In the mapping world, like with us and planners and things, a lot of stuff is related to the parcels. And so a lot of times you'll get the short pin. Like it'll be, somebody will write it down. So this example down here, like 7822. A lot of times that's going to be written 78-22. Well, you can't type that in here. You need the full 14-digit number with section, block, lot, parcel, everything in that ID field. And so we get that question a lot. And so down here, if you click on this link, this section right up here will explain how do I relate the shorthand pin. So that'll explain how you put in those zeros and where those hyphens go. And obviously you don't need to read it right now, but just know that it's there. And it can explain if you just have a 78-22, how you make it that full pin. So if we go in here, and we can just use this one. And I think you can put hyphens in or not hyphens. Do you remember, Derek?
Let's try.
I think,
Leave it without, just see what it does. Yeah, it finds it, okay.
yeah.
Hyphens definitely work, I know that.
Yeah, so you can put hyphens in, not put hyphens in. For me, it's visually easier to put the hyphens in sometimes, because I know that it's a set of 5 numbers, 2 numbers, 2 numbers, and 5 numbers. So that's easier for me, but it's just whatever works for your brain. So that's kind of the parcel link, and we'll go into some of this other stuff later, but that'll get you your parcel search. And yeah, so that's the parcel section.